On our agenda, we're going to the reports. Monthly operations report. Damon Wyckoff, step on up.
Good afternoon, directors. Damon's at a meeting in Sacramento, so I will be filling in for him today for the February and March operations department reports.
Thank you, Pat.
Welcome. So this is our first one here. This is a leak at our PRV 30 on Thunderbolt Drive up in Ebbets Pass. This was back in February. There was a 6-inch line on the side of the PRV that blew out. Another video. When this first, there's about 250 pounds of pressure coming into this PRV. So when the line first blew, as you can kind of see, it picked up the metal lid on the vault and moved the metal lid off of the vault. When I think we got the alert because we were losing sawmill tank. So the guys went out and just kind of had to drive the area to try and find this. And I believe Gabriel, our treatment plant operator up there, he was driving down Mustang and actually heard it from his truck. So that's how we located it. That was a 6-inch inlet line that feeds this PRV. That when the guys first got there, you can kind of see the hole on the left. They had to dug that hole out about 12 to 15 feet deep. So the guys, once they got it shut down and isolated, they had to backfill that hole with road base just to get it to a level where they could get in there and work on it. You can see there's the hole there. It was an old 6-inch steel pipe that was pretty pitted and just rotten. So yeah, there was, I think we believe close to 700 gallons a minute that were blowing out of that hole. So it was a lot of water. Luckily, the area it was at, we had excellent drainage. Couldn't ask for better drainage for a situation like this. So that part was good. We didn't damage too much.
That means that there's no claims for this. We didn't damage anyone else's property when that broke.
We did not. Yeah.
Remarkable.
Yep.
Wow.
So yeah, there's another picture of the hole in the 6-inch pipe.
How old is that pipe?
Ooh. Other stuff, probably the 70s. Yeah, early 80s.
And we've got miles of pipe like that.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be doing these every couple of months.
Well, hopefully not.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully not. We just got rid of a lot of the old steel down the Reach One project, so that's good. So there's just the work efforts. Guys trying to get in there to replace that section. There's the new section. If you can see on the picture of the right, there's a cutoff pipe up at the top of the picture. That was the old temporary bypass for during construction. That's how they were feeding that. So when they put the new line in, that just became just a dead end. So the guys just cut that and eliminated that section. There's another picture of the new install. And then once they fixed that, charged the line back up, we realized this was an old 12-inch like seismic fitting, a 90 that was on the other side of the PRV vault in front of it. And that was also leaking. So once we got everything else repaired, fired it back up, realized we had a leak on this also. So then the guys went in to start replacing that. Just eliminated that old 90, put an 8-inch ductile 90 in. That's the old piece there on the right. That's all the new stuff on the left. It's kind of the way this feeds into this PRV. The line comes, it tees out of the 16-inch main, comes to that 90, 90s down along the vault, then 90s to the other side of the vault where the first repair was, and then 90s into the vault. So I'm not sure why there's so many 90s in that small section, but that's.
Did they, and this in my mind, it seemed like it would create more pressure, making a turn like that. Is that how pressure works? Maybe it's an engineer question.
Yeah, that's an engineering question.
Reduce the flow, right?
Usually you put your extreme 90, so you have to put the rest block it there. It looked like it was the rest block.
Yeah.
Yeah, there would be a lot of rust.
It was a small one.
pressure below the berm.
Would those increase the pressure having that many 90s?
No, it wouldn't increase pressure, just the thrust.
So we have that on the books to go back one day and hopefully replumb that, how it comes into the PRV, so where it's more of a straight shot.
When the pipe breaks, it significantly reduces the pressure, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Reduces the water going up to fill your tank also.
Man, the tough engineering questions today.
I know, right?
That one was a lot tougher.
So here's the repair on that
Oh, look at
90.
that.
The guys poured the kicker. Had a couple issues with that one, but we got it buttoned up. Just something to point out, if you notice, these pictures were all in order. So the first round of pictures was in the dark. And here's the last part of the pictures in the dark again. It was quite a job. I think Stacy's online, but it was about a 22, 23 hour work effort. So it was quite the feat. Director Robinson came out, brought the guys coffee and donuts. So they appreciated that. They snacked on that pretty much all day.
What's that full circle clamp?
That was, so if you see the Hymax that's to the left of it, we originally had a Hymax on there. Like I said, there's 250 PSI right there. So the Hymax wasn't cooperating very well. So we had already poured the kicker. Everything was set. So instead of having to pull that kicker up and take everything apart again, we just kind of slid the Hymax back and the guys put a Versa clamp. That's the full circle clamp. They put one of those on there and that held up. So collateral damage. All right, so that's just more of the kind of final touch-ups. We got the lid set back on.
So- And
Made a little mess in the road, but that was an easy cleanup. So the guys went through and cleaned up the road afterwards.
That's it, sitting that close to the road? That was
That was below, so that the PRV sits on the corner of Mustang and Thunderbolt. And so that's Thunderbolt down below the road. That's a DI, a county DI that's in the picture right there. Yeah.
And then Pat, before we move on from this,
Mhm.
real quick, because we've talked about this effort a little bit before, but to see the pictures of it, I think in the video really brings it into focus for folks. And real quick shout out to not only Director Robertson, but the really friendly neighbors
Yes.
brought a bunch of burritos for the guys that evening. It was much appreciated too.
Yes.
But I think this is almost like a case study for what we've been trying to, educate Aqua and then legislators and regulators about how, how rural water systems like the Evans Pass system in particular shouldn't necessarily be subject to the same water loss standards as urban areas. And obviously this was a huge blowout. So we knew about the big blowout. But what we also know now is there were probably leaks going on in all of those 90s for many years that we had no way of knowing about. And we have how many PRVs in the just in the Evans Pass system?
107-ish.
7.
Yeah. Roughly.
And yeah, some of them are new and they're not all in this condition, but a lot of them are remote, rural areas like this where if they're leaking, there's no way that we would know. I mean, even with this volume of water to not cause any property damage because it just went down into a drainage. So even a series of small leaks at this location would have been undetectable for us. And just kind of illustrates the challenges we face in chasing water.
Absolutely.
I wanted to make that point.
When you talk about water loss, we frequently get criticized because the difference between the water we produce and the water that we build or consume is theoretically been purported to be vastly out of proportion.
Probably more than theoretical, but yes.
But when we have a loss like this, can we take that differential between produced and consumed and factor in, or we know where this water went? Can we take that off?
Yeah, I think there is a way to calculate losses, like known losses, and in flushing flows, for example, or another instance where we can calculate how much water we flush when we flush. And so if we know about it and we can calculate it, we can take that into account. But the system losses that are really be a huge challenge for us are the ones that are hard to detect. And we have, fortunately, through that, the same USDA financing mechanism that purchased all, that we used for the installation of the AMI meters. We just purchased 60
60 PRVs.
PRVs with flow meters. So and then adding distribution meters throughout our distribution systems will help us track it and try to pinpoint where we have more problematic areas. But it's still going to be a challenge, and it's going to be a challenge, first of all, to find the time and the resources to install those 60 PRVs. They're in the yard right now. So getting them in is going to be a significant undertaking. And then, it's probably not enough long-term. We're going to more but it'll help us to some degree track to a more precise degree where we're.
You know where those 60 are going in? Are they
Yeah.
planned and designed? Okay.
Yeah, there's 36-inch and then 30 of the 2-inch, the bypasses. So 20 of them are going to go up to Ebbets Pass area, 10 of them are going to go down to the Jenny Lind area. All right. So next, this is up in Ebbets Pass still. This is Candy Rock Road, and this is one of the PG&E undergrounding projects. They're going to run underground down Candy Rock Road, which also houses our 20-inch raw water line from the tunnel tap to Hunter's treatment plant. So that's our only feed to the treatment plant for the Ebbets Pass area. So
What could go wrong?
what could go wrong? Right? Yeah. So the guys went out, did an extensive effort on locating that line, coordinating with, I believe KW Emerson's doing that job. So coordinating with the foremans that are on site, making sure we're all in close communication. They also did some cleanup. That's like a blow off, and there's some valves in there. So the construction crew helped. They did some cleanup just to clear all that out to make it easier for the guys to kind of mark that line out in certain areas. The picture on the right looks like some of the PG&E work. It looks like red tape on top of there. That's the conduits that they're installing. And then this is the tunnel tap up at the top. So that valve that you can see in the picture on the right is what would shut that line off if anything were to happen. So I think it'd been a while since it'd been exercised. So the Ebbets Pass distribution guys coordinated with our treatment plant operators, and they scheduled a day where they were able to close that valve, make sure it worked, verified that way, just in case we know we can at least shut it off. So everything went good on that. So far, so good on the project. This is up in Ebbets Pass still, little storm damage cleanup. A tree fell, ripped some service lines out of the ground. So these were kind of after efforts. Once the chaos kind of settled down, then the guys are going around and replacing these kind of issues. So they had to cut some of those trees out of the way, dig all that up, and totally replumb both of those services. Cutting some of the roots out of the way from that down tree. And then there's kind of the finished product. There's the 2 meters that they reset. Everything was plumbed back and then set new boxes. That one was a pretty good work effort on that one. Just because all the roots. Still job. This is more fire hydrant replacements. This one was on Manual Road up in Arnold. Crews continue to go through and replace hydrants as we find them that are broken. And then they also, if they don't have a guard valve, we install a guard valve. That way we have a way to isolate those hydrants. Those work efforts continue as well. The picture on the left was a water line leak at the reclaim plant in Vallecito. The picture on the right was installing an inline valve in Big Trees Village. Not sure what street this was on, but I know this was installing an inline valve somewhere where we might not have had one. So if we had to do a shutdown to repair or replace anything, this would minimize that shutdown. So crews added a valve in to where it could be beneficial to not affect customers as much. And then this troubleshoot and repaired aerator, number 2 at Copper Cove Wastewater Treatment Plant. So it looks like probably the mechanics and the electricians on the picture on the left there. The mechanics use their crane trucks to pull those aerators out of the ponds. So they did some work on that. This one was the mighty bucket truck used to re-aim the telemetry radio for West Point Wastewater Treatment Plant to the new septic receiving building.
So Damon just climbed right up there and turned right
Yeah. Let's see, this was some electrical work. This was, we were having a failure at the Huckleberry lift station. The pumps weren't alternating. So the electricians went in there, diagnosed that and corrected that issue in the PLC. This was corrected some trending issues on SCADA computers and cleaning up some old equipment at the Copper Cove Water Treatment Plant. More electrical work, replaced old back panel backboards at the La Cantera Wastewater Treatment Plant. Those old back panels were probably plywood and rotted, so they put some stainless steel ones on there. And then this is the electricians adding new treble level transducers to the new Copper Cove B tank, the number 2 tank up there. And then this was, we had a pump go out, one of our lake pumps in Lake Tolick. So pump number 2 failed at our Copper Cove raw water pump station. So right now we're down a pump. So this was the electricians troubleshooting some of that. I think there's a picture after this, but we also had the divers come out. And so the divers went down, dove down to the pump just to verify that there were no damaged wires or anything like that. So just to kind of verify that the pump was bad and there wasn't some other small issue that possibly could have been repaired.
Do we hire someone to do diving and?
Yeah, do you know who does the?
Modesto Irrigation District?
No,
Oh, just
MIT.
a couple, oh, MIT, okay.
Yeah. This was the electricians troubleshooting and correcting a high-level call-out issue on lift station 10 in Poker Flat. There's some other slides that you'll be able to see, but the issue we had was the pumps got ragged up in the lift station. And when the lift station got to a high level, it didn't call out. We actually had a near miss on this one because it's right on the shoreline. So it was found just in time before it spilled.
How was it found?
I think during lift station checks, the guys went around and found it
Oh,
during their weekly checks. Yeah, so the electricians repaired that. Here are some of the slides with the divers. Can't really see much, but on the left, it's kind of the images or the video of their dive checking those wires. It's another picture of that. I believe that's probably their air hoses that are running down the hill on the right. And then here's some pictures of those ragged up pumps at lift station 10. So as you can see, they're just completely plugged with Swiffers, wet wipes, all the above. So we put out some notifications. Had some door tags made here in the office. The crews went out and passed out door tags for the homes
from the
that
location where this is, do you know which homes are doing it?
there, we can narrow it down. There, I think there were about 20.
Okay,
So we went out and actually door tagged those 20 or so homes. That way everybody, got the
we
notification.
know you did this.
Right, yeah. So there's another picture. You can see just how ragged up they are, but there's a picture in here where there's actually like a washcloth or a kitchen towel that's ragged up in the impeller in the pump. So I don't know why anybody would flush that, but
How did it get down
there it
the
is.
drain? Wow.
So, hopefully, the notifications are going to help because the guys had to go out there 2 or 3 times within a couple weeks and derag those pumps. So, hopefully we can.
And that damages the impellers or?
It can. With these, they don't. The guys just have to pull it all out and get it all untangled, and then it usually works fine after that.
Well, those thrashers or whatever, that does this get through that or does this even get to it?
What's that, the chopper pumps?
Yeah.
These aren't chopper pumps, I don't believe in this lift station, so. But something like that, it could probably give a chopper pump an issue too. And then this is a filter rehabilitation project over at Copper Cove Water Treatment Plant. So they're rehabbing the filter. I think all the metal and everything look good, right? Is that the last word I heard? Okay. So that project's moving forward. And then this is Dave on the left. He's one of our operators over in Copper Cove, and that's Clinton on the right. He's one of our construction crew members, and he's assisting Dave. They're changing the bulbs in the UV maintenance at the Copper Cove Reclaim Plant. And that was it. Any questions?
Thank you. Very nice. Thanks for stepping in for Damon. Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank-
I'm not as good, but hey, you know.
I don't know why you say that. It was a pretty good report. Thank you.
Thanks.
Any question, any final questions for Pat? Okay,
Thanks,
seeing
Pat.
none. Any public comment on this item?